Okay, so today I'm going to quickly go over all the things that I've done to get prepared for anything from power outages to hurricanes and beyond. So let's get right into it. Alright, so let's start with food. Now I want to break all these into sort of two categories. That'll be things you stock up on, like the prepper side, or things that are renewable, which are more like homesteading. Okay? So on the stock up side, we started off by just adding to all of the regular food that we eat all the time. So every time you go to the grocery store, we just pick up a few extra cans of this and that, and we started building a little prepper pantry. And I built some shelves, and we just started putting stuff back, a little extra. Then I built a can rotation rack that holds 1,000 cans. And the neat thing about this is it automatically rotates everything, so you get first in, first out. And then we started adding more and more cans, and it keeps everything rotated automatically. Then we added a freezer, like a big box freezer. Now the key to this thing is having these totes in here. Little boxes that fit in here nicely, and you can separate all the different foods, like one might have bacon or chicken or stuff from the garden, whatever it is. You can pull these totes out, get to the bottom real easy to see what you got. So rather than just stuffing the thing full and everything on the bottom gets freezer burn, we actually keep it rotated real nicely this way. Then we added a vacuum sealing system, and we would vac seal our pasta and spaghetti using oxygen absorbers, and that makes the stuff last a lot longer. We also do the rice that way into half-gallon jars, and built a specific rice rotation shelf. So again, it's first in, first out, holds a ton of rice, and just keeps everything rotated in a pretty easy way. You know, managing this is a big part of it. And that's part of the problem is if you end up with too much stuff and you're not rotating through fast enough, it can go bad. So in that light, we started looking to freeze-dried food. So we picked Mountain House. You could pick whatever you want. I like the Mountain House. And our approach was went out and got a sampler pack. It had like 20 different meals in it. Went through them all, checked them all out, sort of ranked them, you know, favorites, best to worst. And then went out and did a bulk order based on what we liked. So we just got the stuff that we liked and picked up, I think, 10,000 servings of Mountain House back in 2019. And I thought it was expensive then. It's double that now. So because of price and for other reasons, we picked up a Harvest Right freeze dryer, and that was a big addition. They are a little pricey, but if you have a garden and you can freeze dry stuff out of your garden or orchard, you can also go out to the grocery store when stuff's on sale and just, you know, buy a ton of it and just freeze dry it, and it lasts for like 30 years. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the prepper side of it, but what about the homesteading side? You know, renewable stuff, right? So we went ahead and put in a garden. We cleared out an area, burned off the trees, dug out the, you know, stumps, whatever, staked it all out, and we put in drip irrigation. Now this is a real big deal, putting in the drip irrigation. We have videos on all this, I'll link below. But you got your trunk line, your drip lines, and you can water your whole garden really easy. When you do it this way, you don't waste hardly any water. Different ways to garden. So you got, you know, back to Eden, raised bed. The thing I picked, what I like to call small tractor gardening. And that's because basically I like tractors. So I got a Kubota tractor, added a brush hog, a disc, a tiller, a row hipper for building the rows, a middle buster for putting in the furrows, planting the potatoes, and we got some other stuff like grapples and whatnot. And we went ahead and put in some crops. So mainly we grow beans, green beans, potatoes. We grow about 1,000 pounds of potatoes a year. But we also do peppers and onions, squash, various other stuff. So once all this stuff comes in and you harvest it, you got to have ways to store it. right? So first way is canning. A lot of people are a little timid about canning because you got fire, you got pressure, it's, you know, potential for botulism and stuff like that. But actually canning is, if you follow a few basic rules, it's really not that hard. Once you've done it like 10 times or so, then it's just like second nature. Real easy to do. So but you got to have a canner, you get all the mason jars, the burners, all the stuff that goes with it. And we canned up about 300 quarts a year of potatoes and beans, mostly carrots and other stuff. In addition to canning, you could pick up a freeze dryer. So we got a Harvest Right freeze dryer. Now you can freeze dry just about anything, as long as it's not like oily type stuff. But eggs, I mean, all kinds of things you can freeze dry. I got videos on that, so I won't go into it now. Third way is to just blanch and put it in the freezer. So like potatoes, probably like 3 or 4 different ways I blanch and cut them, blanch them, freeze them, put them in the freezer, vacuum seal them. And I'm pulling stuff out that's a year old and it's like brand new. You can't even tell it's been in the freezer. I don't know how long it would last, but I'm guessing at least 2 years. Alright, so side note, you gotta have ways to cook this stuff when the power's out or whatever. And so we have a propane gas stove, a grill, a griddle, and this burner. In addition to that, we have electric sources like rice makers, griddles, water boilers, I forget what we call those things, hot water pots, microwaves, and all this stuff runs off electric. And if you have solar, battery-backed solar, then I mean, we've never lost power since we've had solar. It's been like 6 years, so we don't really have to worry about that. Now the last thing is animal husbandry. So we're talking cows, pigs, chickens, all this stuff. And we really haven't gotten into that yet. We did have horses for a while. But I am building a chicken coop, got a whole series on that. We're going to add chickens in the spring. And I don't know how far we'll go with this. I think if we did something, we might pick up goats next. But I haven't really gotten too far into it. So I don't have a lot to say about that. So in summary, under food, we're going to stock up all our regular stuff that we eat, canned stuff. We're going to organize stuff in the freezer. We're going to vacuum seal our rice and pasta. We got a bunch of Mountain House sitting on the shelf as a backup plan. That'll last forever. You don't got to rotate it. Okay, and then we have our garden, which gives us a renewable source of food. So we grow our own stuff. We can preserve it by canning and freeze drying, other methods. So anyway, I hope this gives you some ideas, guys. I'm probably going to do water, power, fuel, maybe a few other things. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.